and talking about how do we grow as an individual. So we are live now. It's 9 p.m. here in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Wherever you're tuning in from, we welcome you. Welcome one and all. Would you please let me know in the chat where you are from, what you do, and any other questions or comments or greetings that you may have. We'll be very happy to see you. I see there's some people already on board. I will comment here on my LinkedIn. Hello, we have Salwa Nadira Abdul Rashid. How are you, Salwa? Assalamu alaikum. We have, tell me where you're from. So we'll spend this next couple of minutes just getting to know our audience. Please give me a greeting in the chat. We have one person here. Salwa, how are you, Salwa? Hello, everyone. The rest of you, please tell me where you're coming from, where you're tuning in from, and what you do, if you want to share that, and why you're here, anything. Just let us know. So in the next couple of minutes, let's just allow our friends to come and join the stream. There's a number of you already. I'd like to really know where you're tuning in from. As you know, our guest tonight is from Dubai, from the United Arab Emirates. I am from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and I'd like to know where you're from. We've been connecting with so many people from all over the world. I was calculating on Grow, just this show itself, because I do this twice a week on Tuesday nights Malaysia time and Saturday morning Malaysia time, and I have had people from 12 different countries visit me on this show, so it's just amazing. Yes, Wenjay, I'm still in my uniform, as you can see. I've not come back from work. I've been working from home actually, but my last meeting ended just an hour ago. So we've had meetings back to back to back. We really need to do something about it. As you know, I am in charge of corporate culture in my organization, and we need to put a stop to so many meetings till late in the evening. We have another friend, Marwan from Yemen. How are you, Marwan? But you're working in Malaysia. You're an application engineer. Welcome, Marwan. Wonderful to see you. And Harun here has been with me just last night. Thank you so much for tuning in again every night with me. I have Salwa from Kuching, Sarawak. This is one place it's one of my favorite cities in the world, is Kuching, Sarawak. As you know, I did a couple of TEDx talks, but my latest one was 3 years ago, was in Kuching, Sarawak. So I have very fond memories. I also had a kind of a honeymoon with my wife as soon as we were married to Kuching. It's a beautiful, lovely city. We have Ibad from New Jersey. Hello, Ibad. Early morning for you. Good morning. And so with that, glad to get to know all of you as always. Please give whatever comments and continue in the chat. Usually we have a very vibrant chat when everyone's talking to each other. Sometimes you ignore me and my guests because you're too busy talking to each other in the chat. I don't mind. I will put your chat on the screen, so I'll bring you into this conversation. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our guest for the night, all the way from Dubai, UAE. It is Kim Araman. How are you? Ahlan wa sahlan.
Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here with you today.
Wonderful to have you. So, Kim, you are now in Dubai. What time is it over there in Dubai?
5 p.m. You can see it's still a bit of daylight, actually. So middle of the day, I would say.
Right. So it's almost the end of the day there. So it gets dark pretty soon this time of year, or is it?
I would say like maybe in an hour or so, it starts getting darker. Hopefully not when we're on the call, so you can still see me.
Right. So we've been trying to get this this appointment for quite a while already. It's been a while since you first booked, and then we had to move. I moved, you moved. But anyway, wonderful to have you finally on this call, Kim. So please introduce yourself a little bit to our audience. Where you're from, what do you do, and all of that.
Sure. So I'm super happy to be here with you today, guys. And I know that we have people joining from all over the world, which is also the beauty of LinkedIn, right? You can see me sitting in Dubai talking to you in a different time zone, and Asif sitting in Lumpur evening time, completely different. And that's amazing, to be able to be connecting virtually with great minds like you. So a bit about me. So I'm based in Dubai at the moment. I was telling Asif, I've been here for almost 7 years and a half, which is a time that flies by, to be honest. It passes by so fast. Initially, I'm a marketeer, so I started my journey in marketing almost for 8 years, I would say, more or less, with big corporation companies. I've worked with Coke, I've worked with Kraft Foods, L'Oreal, Kellogg's, Unilever. I've worked with a lot of big multinational brands. And recently, I've just started a couple of years back my own coaching firm, which is about nailing your interview. So I call it Nail Your Interview because I've always been super passionate about career coaching. And it was always at the back of my mind. And as you know, coaching was not such a big thing, I would say 10 years ago. So it wasn't really like top of mind. It's like, I'm going to be a career coach. But the funny thing is, I've always absolutely loved interviews from day one, which is a very funny thing, but that's true. And I was really excited about going to internships and really going for internships. I know it sounds bad, but to actually see if I can get the role, more about getting the role. And that's how my love for career coaching and interviews started back then. And I decided, it's about time to actually do something with it and actually build the life I want to build instead of living another life. And I've been taking it full time, recently for the past year with COVID acceleration and everything. And it's been going super far, so good.
Wonderful. And, people are typically terrified of interviews. So I guess that's where you come in to help people get over this fear. And so you've always found that you enjoyed that process? You enjoyed being in an interview situation?
100%. I know it's funny, but I mean, for me, I see it more as a game, a challenge. And my personal motto is to say, treat your interview as a first date. And obviously, I say first date in the professional sense, but it's more about removing the frustration or the buildup and the fear that we have about it, and really keeping it as a challenge in the sense that it's a two-way street, it's a two-way scenario. They're obviously there to be able to judge to see if you're the right fit for the role, but you're also very much in a position of power and authority to decide if it's the right role for you, right? And I know COVID now is a bit difficult because some people are maybe in a situation that's a bit tighter financially and they actually need to have a role, and that's understandable for sure. But keep in mind, you always also want to build for the long term, and it's important for you to assess if it's the right role for you, if you see yourself working there, working with these people. Are you able to connect with the culture? That's so important. And once you put yourself into that mindset, you actually realize that, you know what, I'll take it as a game and I'll treat it as a challenge. And it makes it easier for you because you have less stress and you'll actually perform so much better.
I think that translates to many or maybe even everything that we do, because before we do something, we're always so afraid of the unknown. We're afraid of having to go through it. But once you do it, it's not so scary anymore, is it?
100%. And the thing that we say, mostly, I mean, fear is subjective, right? Because I might be afraid of planes, for example. And that's true, by the way. I love flying, but I'm really scared of flying. And it's like a huge pressure every time. And you might have a different fear. Some of them have fear of public speaking. Some of them have fear of interviews, right? But it's also about realizing that most of the time, the fear builds up so much more because we build it up in our mind so much more. The fear is there because our mind is just making it bigger and bigger and bigger and making such a big deal about it. But when we break it down and we force ourselves to go past our fear and beyond our fear, one step at a time to make it happen, we actually realize it wasn't so daunting after all.
Exactly. So before we get more into this professional side of what you do, tell me a little bit about where you're from. You're from Lebanon.
Yeah, I'm actually from Lebanon. So it's a country in the Middle East, which is actually not doing so well at the moment. On top of COVID, like everyone else, there is a huge political and economical situation that's been bringing the country down to the ground, I would say, even though it wasn't really there yet. Exactly. And I really do love my country. But I also am very grateful that, I'm able to be in Dubai at the same time and being able to do what I do. I've lived in France for 4 years. I'm also French speaking, so I speak 3 languages: English, French, and Arabic. And I'm in Dubai at the moment. I would say for the next couple of years, then who knows?
So, how different is the culture from Lebanon and Dubai?
I would say like, oof. I mean, I think it depends also which culture you associate yourself with the most. I'm more of a French culture background, but obviously the values that I have with the Middle East have a lot of things in common with the Arab world in general. So it is pretty much similar. And in terms of person, so as my character and my trait, I associate to Dubai a lot in the sense that Dubai is a country, for people that might not be aware, that is huge about, being tolerant towards one another. And it's so important, being tolerant with different culture. In Dubai, you have people from everywhere around the world, literally everywhere. Different confessions, different nationality, different everything. And it's amazing to have that, right? It's amazing to have that power of understanding the other, not necessarily agreeing with it, because that's not the point, but tolerating one another and being respectful and trusting on one another in terms of things. And I think Lebanon, what I get from Lebanon as well, it's also a country with 13 confessions, by the way. So it has like also people, obviously Lebanese, but so many confessions that also brought us in the sense of being tolerant towards one another, understanding, trusting, and even if we don't agree with other culture or other norms, it's again agreeing. It's still perception of subjective, right? Like I agree, it's my own perception of my reality. It doesn't need to be reality of how it is, and that's so important. And that's why I love Dubai as well.
Exactly. That resonates with us as well here in Malaysia, because we are also multicultural, multiracial. So many different languages are spoken here, so many different faiths. Although, of course, Islam is the dominant religion at the moment. But again, much of this strife is really political and artificial in that sense, because the people are so happy to be together. It's just that sometimes this artificial constructs are being put on us. So since you do have a French speaking background as well, your transition to living in France must have been not that difficult then.
Yes and no. In the sense that you would think so. Of course, I mean, I'm a French speaker, and French is actually, I speak French better than English. Sorry, better than English, better than Arabic. Although I've become more proficient now living in Dubai for sure. But as much as I feel close to the culture and the norm in France, I think, and it's the same in Dubai, leaving your country, sorry, and getting used to a completely different country with completely different sets of living, always takes a habit, and a build up at the beginning. Like it took me 6 months, I would say, in France and in Dubai to kind of like get used to it and start liking it. It's very different. And even in France, it wasn't easy, I came there I think I was 21 back then. So it wasn't easy. I was a student, so it was fun at the same time, but it was not easy because I wasn't used to doing everything on my own, literally, which was amazing to learn to gain independence and everything. But you always get a buildup of, getting used to a country. So even if I, for example, have a plan of leaving in the next couple of years, let's say, and my objective is to go back to Europe, not in France necessarily, but maybe like Holland or a country that's, very mutually understanding. I am aware that it will also take me more or less like 6 months, to get used to like their ways of living and everything. And it's normal.
Of course. So, yeah, I mean, but again, what you were saying about, not being so bogged down with your fears and not really being stopped by something that you don't know. It really takes, it does, of course, take courage to embrace the unknown. But I think this is something you can learn how to develop. And as a coach, I'm sure this is part of what you help your clients with.
100%. And for me, it's more about, if you really have an objective that you want to build in mind, it might seem a far stretch when you're like, have a way to go, right? But it's important to remember, for you to achieve it, it's important to have the end goal in mind. That's super important. But remember to have like mini steps and mini goals along the way that will help you get there. It's so important because you will realize that once you don't focus so much on the big picture, it's still there, but you start building one small step after the other, over the past, like, the next few months or the next couple of weeks, you'll actually realize, looking back, that you've been doing so much progress, and you'll see that you have so far to go. It won't seem as daunting as you think it would from the very beginning.
Right. We have, I think LinkedIn is one of the kindest places ever. And we have some nice greetings here from Hasnain saying that may your country get back to its old glory. That's a wonderful
Thank
sentiment.
you.
Thank you so
I
much
hope
for saying
COVID
that.
also gets, like, much better for everyone as well, because I know it's been tough for a lot
Right.
of, different countries right now. So hopefully it goes back in the next few months for all of us.
Inshallah. Ahmad Al Hamamsi is, I think, in Dubai as well. Hello, Ahmad. Nice to
Hey,
have you on my
Ahmad.
show tonight. So, thanks so much for joining. So, again, your clients obviously need help. They're afraid of going for interviews. Maybe they've been out of the job for a while, and they really need help to score that job, because, like you said, with COVID, there's been a lot of issues with people losing jobs and all of that. So how do you help prepare them for that big interview?
So for me, I work with my clients in one simple approach. I don't do one-off sessions, because that's not how I can provide full value to you. I don't do like only resume write-up or whatever it is. I can if I wanted to, but I don't want to, because it's not fair to you when I work with my clients. What I do is I've developed a program that's like a 9-week, which is 9 sessions program, that I've built over the past 10 years with my studies, my coaching certificates, my clients, my experience, to refine it, to be able to give my clients the best of what I can give. And I really like hold your hand, take you in my arms, and really like build things with you one step along the way from the very beginning. So from the point where you haven't actually started your job search, building also your resume, your mindset, everything that's super important, all the way to getting the job offer and signing it. And that's super important, because that's the only way I can provide 100% value and make sure that you have full support along the way. Because it's also normal that, it's human nature. When you're going to start applying, even if you're the most confident person out there, if you don't get results so fast, it's going to start impacting your confidence and your mindset. And you need someone mentally to be able to coach you and to support you, to be able to keep you going along the way. You might be waiting for a role. For example, you found it and you're like, this is the perfect role for me. And I'm so excited about this job, and I felt that way. Everyone had. And then maybe, unfortunately, you maybe don't even get an answer, because sometimes also that happens a lot, these days. Or you get a rejection, and then you're like, even if you have built your mindset, it's human nature and it's normal to feel bad and to start feeling negative. And it's important to have someone to support you, to bring you out of that negativity bubble, and to remind you of your worth, and to keep you going along the way, right? And that's also what a coach is for. Like, I'm there obviously to show you the right assets, the right way to give you the rope, so you don't need to find them for yourself, but also to support you mentally in terms of when you need it the most. I'm like your personal cheerleader kind of the way, every step of the way till we get it together.
That is wonderful. I wish I had you in my corner when I was looking for a job, because, like you said, obviously, just a few years ago, coaching wasn't the norm. You couldn't find really somebody to do that, and get somebody in your corner and to cheer you on. Just a few years ago, I kind of lost my job quite suddenly, and I was thrown, in the deep end. With all of these commitments, suddenly out of a job, and we had to look for something really, really quickly. Obviously, you try to pivot, you try to change, but it is a very, very stressful situation, not just for you, for your entire family, your wife, your kids, everyone's worried. So you do provide that sort of emotional support as well, not just the technical resumes and applying for jobs.
100%. And I do it as well, because I know the feeling. Like, I know I said I moved a lot, so I know the feeling in terms of being in your job and not feeling happy about it, feeling
Yeah.
like you're stuck and you don't know what to do or how to do it. But I've also been, how do you say, let go of my job. Imagine, like, I don't say that in interviews, but I've also been let go of my job, and I had to find another job in a month or two, because Dubai is also a very different situation in the fact that you can't stay in Dubai if you don't have a resident visa. And if you
Right.
don't have a job, then obviously you don't have a resident visa. So it was also very tough in the sense that I wanted to find a job, and I wanted to find the right job. So I really do understand the frustration of having to look for something now, but also having to look for something that's right for you and still not let it crush your confidence when you get to that stage, because it is crushing in some sort. And you're like, why me? Why out of everyone, why me? Right?
Of course. Have you seen, a change in the job market now that with COVID and more people working from home? Is there a growth of opportunities now that people can actually apply for jobs not related to their geographical location? Have you had people apply for jobs, overseas and work from home?
So I definitely think that the market has been shifting. So last year during the same time, so when COVID hit and started, it was a very different situation. There wasn't so many openings because all of the companies and the people out there that even were looking for someone, they put everything on hold, right? They're like, we don't know what's going to happen, so let's put everything on hold, which companies used to do are used to do, right? But now it's changed since, I would say, I noticed a very big shift, I would say, since the September last year. So when the vaccine came out and everything started to be a bit more positive, you see more jobs and jobs out there. Now, is it the same situation at 2 years ago? No. But is it going to be? Yes, I can definitely say it will be in the next few months. So the time really is now in terms of activating, networking, trying to find the right job. And companies are realizing that, working from home is, I'm not going to say it's here to stay, because it also depends very much on the culture of the company, but it's not going away anytime soon. And I'm talking about a very simple fact, the recruitment process. And I can guarantee you, I'm not a recruiter, nor do I want to be, but I can guarantee you that the recruitment process has already changed and will not change so much, in the sense that video calls and video interviews are not going anywhere. They are
It's
not
not.
going anywhere even after COVID. Why? Because it saves so much time for both you and the recruiter. You don't have to drive there. You don't have you have a limited time, which makes it so much difficult as well, right? Because you have less time to impress the person straight away. And you're not super comfortable to see the setup of how it is, because it's not familiar to you, but we need to get accustomed to it. Now, is it the only mode of recruitment? No, of course not. It's probably the preliminary mode of recruitment, and then once you pass the first and second step, of course they still want to see you face to face, and you probably want to see them as well, right? If you want to see the environment and everything. So it is definitely changing in terms of thing, but I think companies will be much more open in terms of accepting remote work, which you were asking, Asif, in terms of thing. Not all of the companies, but mostly startups, companies that are more progressive will definitely be more looking into remote working, because they see that it works, right? We're more productive when we're working from home. We have less time, less work-life balance. That's unfortunately the truth. But we are more efficient also sometimes, depending on how people are, of course, in terms of circumstances.
For sure. I used to travel 1.5 hours to my job
Uh,
and probably 2 hours home because of the jam. So I love it when I work from home. I step down these steps and I'm in my bedroom. So I mean, this is my office, but it's also my home, and it saves so much time. I get to run in the morning and exercise. It's beautiful. But I really hear what you're saying about recruitment and interviewing. We are a large telco in Malaysia, one of the, I would say, the best telco, and we're still hiring even during this time. But we were very traditional in the sense that before COVID, none of us were working remotely. We were 100% hands-on, working from the office. We have about 3,000 employees from all over the country. And, COVID forced us to immediately, overnight, 90% of our workforce work from home. So
mhm.
it was a huge cultural shift. And even during COVID, while we're working from home, I've hired people whom I've never met. They've been working from home since day one of their employment. And I have, every week I interview candidates, like you said, online. So I've been getting better and better at it. I can read facial expressions better. But even sometimes, online interviews are easier because you actually see people's faces and you can read gestures and you don't feel awkward staring into somebody's eyes or somebody's face because you're looking at a screen. So I kind of like it. I enjoy this online interaction.
I think it depends also. Maybe for you because you're doing the interview. But I
Maybe
can
on the other side, it's a bit difficult.
exactly. I can imagine like putting myself instead of the person who's doing, like, for example, me, I'm looking at the camera, I'm looking down, I'm looking at the camera, I'm looking down. And that's the trick with video interview. Like, where do I look? It's like weird to look at the camera right now. I'm looking at the camera. I know I'm not looking at anything, but everyone can see me. But it makes more sense, like psychologically, to look at you, which means I'm not looking at the person.
Exactly. So I've also, because my job is also employee engagement, and then we've had to shift. Before I was on a plane and meeting people in different parts of the country and engaging with them, but now it's online. And like you said, it's so much more efficient. I don't have to buy a plane ticket. I don't have to buy a hotel room. I save so much time. I'm still with my family and I get to meet all of my colleagues around the country. So I kind of enjoy that. So again, ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to Grow, our show. Twice a week, we come to you on Tuesdays and on Saturdays, and we bring people from all over the world. Last count, I had people from 12 countries, and now we have Kim Araman, originally from Lebanon, now residing in the UAE, in Dubai specifically, and she helps people get jobs. So let's shift the conversation, Kim, to how do you use LinkedIn then? What does LinkedIn do for you in your job? In your business?
But I'm gonna tell you, like LinkedIn. If you look at my post, and anyone can look at my my profile, and you'll actually see that I used to use LinkedIn the way the other people used to use LinkedIn. I had like my summary, not even my summary actually. I didn't have a summary. I had only like my work experience, which you usually do. I had another profile picture that was not so professional, and that was before COVID hit, because you used to use it as I want to find a job, but it wasn't a networking tool, right? It was only a job posting kind of thing.
Right.
And people still used to check your profile, but it wasn't as intense as it is now. So since COVID and everything, LinkedIn, and we all know that, became completely different in terms of tool. And I would say it's actually a gem of a tool for people that use it for like job seekers, for example. And why is that? Because it's much more than just a job platform. It's so much more. It's like for example, you and me, Azif, we would have never met if it wasn't LinkedIn. I don't know if Ahmed is still on the call. I would have never met him if it wasn't for LinkedIn, and I can, talk about so many people that are actually not just networking people. They are becoming friends, even if it's virtual friends because of COVID, it's still friendship. It develops like more than kind of a bond when you nurture it, right? And that's how people need to realize the power of LinkedIn. When you use it the right way, it's not just I'm clicking on the job and I'm applying for the job. I'm using it to build my circle, and not just build my circle with HR people or recruiters. It's also build your circle with people that are in your field or in the field you want to be in. Because people tell me like, and a lot of my clients say that, they're like, Kim, but I don't have any connections. Like, isn't it weird if I send a message to a person that I don't know? They might not answer. And I'm like, so what? Like, if you think about it, I can tell you people are nicer than what you think they would be, and I'm talking about myself and I'm talking about you, in the sense that if someone messaged me, I reply to every single, message I have. Maybe not instantly, but I do reply as fast as I can, because I know how important it is to be able to, for the person to actually make the effort for that. And I want to celebrate that and congratulate them and keep them going. And you will have people that won't answer, but so what? Because it's the same in life. Are you going to look at the people that are not answering and your cup half empty? Or are you going to look at the people that are answering and it's your cup half full, and, build on that and say that's great, Don't focus on what's not going. Focus on what is going. And really the very big difference in LinkedIn, and you will see from my profile, is when I started posting every single day. And I think I started that not really a long time ago. It was maybe like, I would say 3 months ago, 4 months ago, around that frame, not longer than that, I don't think. And I started posting every day. And, and I tell people, I don't care how many likes you get on your post. I know it seems cool, and I know it's a psychological trick to see that, oh, that post did better and that post did well. And it's important for your learning to understand what resonates more with your audience. That's very important. But don't focus so much on the number. Who cares about the number? The number is not going to make you get business or get you a job, but it's more about getting the visibility. And the more you post, the more you engage with these people, the more they will engage back. the more you
Uh-oh. Kim was
profile.
just in the middle. Oh, there you go. You're kind of frozen for just a second there. But I'm glad to have you back. But yeah, I think that's a key critical point about showing up, right? If you don't show up every day, people don't have the opportunity to kind of know who you are. And especially on a platform like LinkedIn, people want to know who the person is before they listen to your pitch or they listen to your proposal or your offer. They want to know who is Kim first. So by
100%.
posting every day, it really builds that trust and credibility.
And even not just for me, even for people that are looking for jobs, at the end, the hiring manager will go on your profile and tell me, what is this person an expert in? And that's what you want to transmit as a message. If you're a marketeer, if you're an engineer, if you're a copywriter, you want to transmit that message when the person comes onto your profile in the first few seconds. And that's why the first impression matters so much. It's really important to build it that way.
Right. Big shout out to a good friend of mine, Ayu Shahira from Kuala Lumpur. How are you, Ayu? Ayu is interesting because she is we could say she's a fresh graduate. She only started her career 9 months ago. But in those 9 months, she built up her LinkedIn profile from nothing to now she has 18,000, I think, followers, 19,000 followers, just by posting every day and showing up and helping other people find jobs as well. Because, she's a super achiever. By the time she got her first job, she already had tons of other offers from other multinationals. So what she did was she posted those and said, hey, there's jobs offerings here, here, and here, and this is how I got it. This is how you can do it too. So, helping others seems to be a great way of growing your influence, growing your reach on LinkedIn. And, from your post, Kim, you see a lot of great tips, a lot of, it seems that you're giving away your business because, I know this is what you do to help your clients, but it seems that you're telling people what to do already in your posts. Do you feel that that's going to hinder you in any way?
Not in that sense, because you need to remember a very important thing that I have in terms of business. How would you trust a person if I come and tell you today, my name is Kim, I'm a career coach, I will help you do that, I will help you do this, but I don't give you anything. And you're like, okay, but how do I know if I can trust you? And in order to build that credibility and to build that trust, and it's not just in my field, you can see salespeople and everything, it's more about giving before taking. And any job, like even when you're doing networking for job seeking, you have to give before taking. I'm not going to send a random person a message saying, can I send you my CV? Because guess what? You're either not going to get a response back or you're going to get a no, I don't know you. Why would I actually send it? But it's about building. You need to give before asking for something. And one important point you mentioned, actually, Asif, is when I started doing that, I get so much more business out of it, because I'm giving something, but people are coming to me because they also need help. If I'm giving you the tips, doesn't mean you know how to do it. I'm telling you how to do it, but you need my support in showing you how to do it. And that's so important. That's the very big difference. You have the book if you want, and you have the free researches and the free online tools, that everyone does and tells you. You can even build a business on your own if you wanted to. But is it not easier to do it with someone who's an expert in that field and can help you build it faster?
Right.
That's the very big difference.
So how has LinkedIn helped you grow your own business? What kind of role does it play, or do you have other avenues of getting leads and getting clients, or is it just LinkedIn?
No, so actually I have other revenues, but LinkedIn is probably like 70% of my revenue stream coming from my organic content that are leading to clients, client leads to referrals, and that's how it works. And then a very small portion of it is through webinars and ads and everything else. And that's the sustainable way, because at the end, you want a sustainable revenue that comes to you in terms of business. And that's you posting and sharing and building that momentum. So more people, for example, when they're looking for what jobs, or they know someone is looking for a job, for jobs, they have you in mind in terms of, I know that person can help me, kind of thing. That's what you want to build in their minds.
Excellent. So that's built through sharing of yourself and putting yourself out there and giving to people, right? When you give, like you were saying, you give to people, people like love it, and then they will respond and resonate with you. And then when it's time for them to find somebody to coach them, hey, Kim's there. She's we've been following months now. She's the one to help us get a job. So it's amazing that, you know, a free platform like LinkedIn. I mean, we don't have to pay. Everything's organic, right? You don't have to pay like you pay for Facebook views or Instagram views. So everything's organic, yet it's a sustainable way of getting leads and getting business into your business, right?
100%. And it's the same, you know, for not just for career coaches in general, but business coaches that are on LinkedIn. Like, you know, it's a very, very big part. As I said, LinkedIn has changed so much. So LinkedIn, I can definitely guarantee you, not a lot of people used to use it for recruiting clients before, in terms of because it wasn't what it is before COVID. Right. But now, because everyone is on the platform and you don't have physical networking events, LinkedIn is there as a virtual networking platform. And it gives you the possibility, with all of the followers they've increased, to be able to build that with your target audience directly, which makes a huge difference.
Right. And there's so many users anyway. It's enough. There's enough pie to go around, right? There's so many users. I think the last count was 800 million or something like this. It's a crazy number. And then for people like you who offer services, and you can do this online now mostly, you can get clients from all over the world, right? It doesn't have to be in your neighborhood.
Exactly. And I do. And I think you said something that's very important. It's about understanding that I don't want the whole pie. I'm not talking about, you know, I'm not talking to the whole population out there, because if I try and do that, and anyone who is in business would know, if I try and do that, then it's like me talking to the world. So I don't have a particular message. So I'm not going to be talking to you, Asif, because it's not going to resonate with you. The more I am focused in terms of understanding who I want to target exactly, the more my message will resonate. I can't just talk to all of the job seekers out there, because that's an infinite number of people, right? You have fresh graduates, you have senior people, you have so many different pools of people. You can if you want to, but then your message won't make an impact. The more you are focused, the more you build on the insight of the person and the feeling that they feel, so they feel they can connect with you and they know that you know how you're feeling, the more you will get results out of it. And it's so important, no matter what your business is, no matter if you're a marketeer and you're currently in a corporate or company or anything. If it's like me, for example, even if you're a marketeer, I have a product. Do I sell my product to everyone out there? No. I have a target audience that's focused. Even you, Azif, in telecom, you have a specific consumer you are reaching out to. It's so important. And it's so important, no matter.
Exactly. So we have many questions actually in the chat, and we have one here that says, can we give some tricks to engage with a team or individuals interviewing through video call without leaving, I guess, superficial? I think she means not so positive hints to the interviewer, whether intentionally or not. So can you give some tricks or tips for having that online interview, Kim?
Sure. So in terms of video, it's also about reminding yourself that everything you say matters so much more, even more, I would say, not so much more, but even more than if you were going to a physical interview. Why? Because when you're in a physical interview, you have that waiting in the area room moment where you're having an informal chit chat with the person you're going to the interview to the room with, to ask you, like, you know, simple things like, how was your day? Did you find your way, easily? And those things are breaking the ice. When you go on a video call, you don't have these moments. They're not going to tell you. I mean, the only thing they will say is, were you able to connect easily? Yes, okay, let's go. Kind of thing. So it's a bit more, less breaking the ice, let's say. So whatever you say matters more, because as we said, the beauty of having video call as well is that people want to make sure their time is efficient, which means you have less time to impress the person from the beginning. And it's so important to be able to do that. Like when you have the first question you will get, and I can guarantee you that, is tell me about yourself. And that question, you need to think about it so much, because it's the make or break question. It's either you're going to give me something and I want to get to know more about you, or you gave me something but not interesting enough for me to want to get to know more. So you don't have my full curiosity back then. And that's so important. And setup, it's so important. Remember me, you can see me, I'm talking with my hands. I would try and avoid doing that when you're in the video call as much as you can. So, of course you are talking with your hands, but try not to talk as much as I do. with my hand, and it's a mental effort, but it distracts the person from your answer, and you don't want that. It's super important for them to focus on what you are saying. So the least amount of time you say, ideally you should say 60 seconds per answer, the best it is, so they stay focused with you all the way.
Right. Those are some great tips. I hope you enjoyed that answer. We have a question from Hasnain. He says, do you think in these challenging times, new jobs which were not in high demand before now are getting more attention? Is that the case, where different jobs are being in more in demand now?
So I would say the world is ever evolving. Like 10 years ago, who spoke about digital jobs? We had like some few things here and there, but you didn't have the digital sphere and era of jobs that you have today, right? It was more minimal. Now everyone wants to go into digital even more after COVID, because they're like, this is where it should be, right? And why? Because it showed you that the few companies that really kept afloat, who are they? We know who they are. Amazon, Apple, Google, Facebook, and who are these? They're all digital companies. So that shows you that like 10 years ago is not a long date, by the way. I mean, I would say like not even 10 years ago. And it changed so much. Even the recruitment process. Look at us. I can guarantee you that people, like smart genius people that have come up with Google like 10 years ago, are probably coming up with stuff during COVID about how to make things different. I can guarantee you we will see things that are going to change the way we see, the way we feel things in the next couple of years. And you will have roles that don't exist today that will be created for us. Because at the end, who are we to say, if the job doesn't exist, why do we not create it? If something is making you excited, are you going to wait for someone to create it, to create a company, to create an idea? Why don't you create it? And that's how people think these days. And I'm sure we're going to have like so much surprise coming out of it.
For sure. Like you're saying, it's an incubation period. Everybody's sitting at home and not going out and really coming up with all these new ideas. And like you said, very, very soon, these new concepts will come out, and suddenly jobs that never existed before will happen for people like us. So I have a great question here from an old friend of mine, Nagib. Nagib is from Bangladesh. I think he's based in Saudi Arabia right now. His question is, to join a top organization like the names you were mentioning just now, would you have to be a jack of all trades or a master of one or two things?
I think it would depend really on what type of role are you looking for. Like, of course, if you're looking at a senior level, like a general manager position, you cannot say, I do this or that, right? You have to understand a bit of different things. You have to understand marketing. You have to understand sales. You have to have an array of strength, even though your core strength will be in more things. So I really think it depends. Nagib, if you can give me a bit more direction also on that, so I can help you a bit more. But I would say it depends on the level of where you are. But considering that you are in the middle manager level, just for the hypothesis to help you out on this, I would say it's not about being a jack of all trades. Why? Because if you try to do everything, you're just going to be good enough in everything. Are you going to shine? No. Because you're going to try to scramble to do things you don't do so well in terms of making them a bit better. But if you're mastering a few skills, as you said, and you really like make them shine, so people know, Nagib, you're an expert at sales. I'm giving an example. And they know that you're the person they want to go for if, for example, they're not able to crack a deal and they need you to make it happen. You need to have a personal branding in terms of what your core strengths are. And that usually is a number of 2 or 3 per person. And you make them shine, even for a general manager. Yes, of course, they need to have more strength skills in terms of things, but still, they cannot be good at everything. They are going to shine because of these 2, 3 things that are ending up in them being and making the difference versus another general manager that's applying for the same role.
Right. That's really great points you have there. And I apologize in advance, Nagib, because I've known him for 15 years, more than that probably. And we were working in the same organization in knowledge management. And I would say that Nagib is an expert in this field already because he's been honing his craft in that. But I would say that he's on the verge of breaking into top management. He's probably on the verge of getting a C-suite job because he's built up a decade worth of experience and expertise internationally. Maybe perhaps that's his challenge right now. How do you break through that ceiling and get into those top jobs?
So be able to get a promotion, there are a few things that you need to do. So again, it's about really honing down on what your core skills are and making sure it is visible. So when you do something, we tend not to share what we do in terms of results, right? When we get results, we tend not to do anything in terms of showing them what we're getting. Celebrate these achievements and show them the achievements. So you are celebrating your results so that they can remember every time what your results are. Another thing is, if you're looking for a promotion, and that's super important, no matter what level you are, when you are looking for a promotion, it is not enough to do what your job description today says that you should do. You should do more because you need to prove to them that you're already ready. This
Yeah, we kind of stuck there for a second. So anyway, Naguib clarified also. He said maybe more for entry level jobs. I guess for senior level jobs, he kind of knows what the deal is. But if you're just starting out in your career, should you be more of a generalist or more of a specialist?
I would say, again, it would be more of a specialist, and that you would learn to do when you're starting a job. You get feedback from your boss, you get feedback from the people you work with, and you would know from the first year or two, what are you good at and what are you not so good at? So of course, you're going to shine in the good at and accelerate these, and you're going to try to tackle these not so good at to improve them. But these not so good at will never be your shining stars. These will be your shining stars. And what I was saying before also, it's important no matter what your level is. If you're junior, mid-level, senior level, when you're looking for that promotion, it is not enough to be able to do just what a job description is saying that you should do. You have to go above. You have to do what's not being asked of you. Because when the general board is going to ask and is going to say, who is going to be promoted this year? When they have you, Naguib, for example, they can say it's a no-brainer. They don't even need to think about it because they're like, he went above and beyond. He already proved to us that he can do the role, and it will be already a job that's done. Because getting promoted is a long-term thing. You cannot just suddenly tell your boss, I want to get promoted, and in 1 month it's done. Right. We all know that. It's a bit of a game that takes a bit more time, and you need to build it early on so you are able to get it faster. I hope that helped.
That's wonderful, and it definitely in line with what Farah Ain is saying. Celebrate achievement and do more than your JD. It's
exactly
precisely what you were saying just now. So yeah, and Hasnain,
like even if there is a project, for example, an additional project you can volunteer for to be able to get it. So you also get visibility, not just with your manager, that's important, but with people that have the influence of deciding who will get promoted. Why don't you ask, can I be part of that free job on top of your responsibilities? And promise you will shine through that.
It's so interesting. And my cat has joined me back there, Mary. Hello, Mary. I was just telling employees in Celcom, there's, of course, in any company, there's several projects going on that are cross-functional in nature that will take extra time, definitely will take extra commitment from you. But as you rightly said, these are the opportunities for you to shine and to show the managers and show your bosses that you have more up your sleeve. You can contribute more value to the organization. So I always encourage people to take up these extra responsibilities and show up and show what you can do. So that's great points right there. Yep, we already talked about that. So you know what, Kim, it's 9:50 in my clock. And, as they say, time flies when you're having fun. It's such an amazing conversation. There's so many wonderful questions from the crowd. Naguib's still with us, so he's saying now, Naguib is, Harun is saying it's better interview. Yeah, it is difficult. I mean, it's not so easy to be an interviewer either. Like for me, I work in HR and I do interview a lot of people. Of course, in a large organization like us, there's different levels. So if somebody's going for a job, as my peer, for example, the chiefs will be interviewing them. But if somebody near me, near my level comes, then I will have to be the senior and interview in a panel. So it takes effort as well. It takes concentration. But like Kim said, if you don't say something that sparks my interest, it's so easy for the interviewers to lose attention. There's so many distractions. You're on your WhatsApp at the same time. Your cat's there crying to be petted. Your children are running around.
Every time to do. I have this project after.
Exactly. So you need to be engaging with the interviewers. You need to know who you are and what your strengths are, and talk about that. Be confident in who you are. So again, I think Kim is the expert in this to help people gain their confidence and be able to, like I said, what was your catchphrase, Kim? To nail that interview.
Exactly.
Nail the interview. But I really love your catchphrase as well, to treat the interview like a first date. So maybe you can elaborate a little bit more about that. How would you treat an interview as a first date?
So what I mean by that is, when you go for a first date, like, let's go back to your wife, for example. When you first got to the very first date that that was a while back with your wife, right? You didn't know anything about her, did you?
Nope.
And she didn't know anything about you. Yeah. And it's the same thing in interviews. Yes, you might tell me, but Kim, he can go on, or she or he can go on my LinkedIn profile and actually get a glimpse of me. I'm going to tell you yes, but what does our LinkedIn profile say about us anyway in terms of person? Not much, really. It just gives a glimpse of different things, and it's what we assimilate it to be. But we don't know the person. We don't know what the person's personality is, how they think, what matters to them, who's the type of person they want to hire. We only know that when you're in the interview, which is your first date. So the goal is, and it's talking about confidence, the first time that you like someone, because also it's about liking, right? You might go on a first date and then you're not really so excited. So we don't want that. Let's not consider that scenario. Let's consider that it's a first date that you're actually interested in, meaning you're actually interested in the role and the company, right? And it's something that you're really excited about. Then you're probably going to want to impress that person the same way they need to impress you. That's why we're saying also it's a two-way street. It's not only if I impress you, but you don't impress me, doesn't really work, does it?
No.
And the other way around. We both need to be impressed by one another to be able to do that. And when we don't know the person, it's about, again, showing the best version of yourself. And that's what you do on a first date, don't you? You don't tell the person, you know what, I'm stingy, if it is, or I'm grumpy, or I usually, wake up in the morning and I'm in a bad mood. No one wants to hear that. And it's the same in an interview. You're not going to go and scream and say, I'm impatient, or, I have anger issues, for example, or whatever it is. Of course, if they ask you what your weaknesses are, it's a different question, but you're going to hone down as much as you can on the strength that you have to position the best version of yourself. And this is what I mean by treat your interview as a first date. You really want to make that first great impression so that you remain top of mind. You want them to go out of that meeting room the same way you would go out of your first date thinking, I'm really impressed. I thought there was a spark between us. I thought there was a connection. And I want to get to see her more or to see him more. And I want to get to know more about that person. That's what you want to achieve.
That is a wonderful analogy, and it's a great way to think about it as well. It's easy to remember, and you know what to do. But I'd like to give a bit of insight from the interviewer's side as well. And we do approach that because, for us in this time, it is so key to attract the right types of employees, because you can spend, we like to spend as much time as we can to select the right employees, because once they're in, it's so difficult. You become our responsibility already. But it's also our time to impress you as well. Like you said, it's a two-way street. So for us, we go into interviews wanting to impress the candidates. We want you to like us. We want you to want to work for us. So we also want to put our best side forward. We want to only show you about the exciting stuff and the cool stuff we have in our office. I have a slide, and I tell people we have a slide in our office to make us look more cool than we are. But it's about impressing each other. And you're very right. It's almost like a first date, and we want to get to know each other. So that's amazing stuff. Nagib has some insight as well. I mean, it's very kind of say Nagib because we used to work in the same department, and he said about giving out vibes. But what I have to say about that is really it's about being true to yourself. And the more you are real and the more you're authentic, the more people will resonate with you. The more you try and put up a face or a mask or a different persona, people won't be able to, get your vibe. So in order to put your vibe out, you get to be comfortable with who you are and be confident in showing the world who you are. It's a great.
100%. I think that's so important because as much as it is for the interviewer, as you said, as the interviewee, if we both also show versions of ourselves that are not true, then how is that going to help us after? If I show you something or a person that, let's say I'm an introvert, and I show you that I'm an extrovert, and then I'm the first, the first day on the job, and they tell you and they present you like, oh, but you're so great at that, so I'm sure you wouldn't mind going up and speaking in front of the whole crowd. And you're like, how well am I going to do that? But it's also very much, as you said, it's so important not to paint a picture of who you are not, because that's not going to help you. It's about both of you being genuine, and really, even for you, Azif, as you said, like for the interviewer, it's the interviewee. Sorry, it's also about cracking that shell, because so many people are so stiff as interviewee, and they're like all serious. Which I know it's a professional environment, and we are serious, but just crack a joke just to get the other person to de-stress. It's all about when you get other people to be more confident and more relaxed, you're going to get more out of them. And you know that as much as I know that. The more stressed they are, the less likely they will show their best version, and you will not know who they are. The more relaxed they are, the better you'll see who this person actually is.
Right. That's so true. And, if you're at the interview already, you've already got a foot in the door, right? Because there were thousands of resumes that have been rejected and yours was accepted. So you're now at the interview. They'll already like you. So Be confident. And like you said, if somebody cracks a joke, I would definitely remember them, because out of 100 people, maybe one person will actually have the confidence to say a joke in an interview. So that, you want to be memorable. Like Kim said, you want people to remember you and be top of mind, because there are many, 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 many candidates. And if somebody doesn't remember you, they don't know your name, they don't know your experience, then it's very unlikely that you'll get the job. So you want to be memorable. So Kim, maybe at the end here, I want to ask you, because we were talking about how LinkedIn has helped you with your, getting leads, getting business into, your company. How important is it to get guidance as well, to get a coach to mentor you on this journey on LinkedIn?
I think depending on what also the objective is for some people, I know you have LinkedIn coaches out there in terms of things. I would say if LinkedIn is one of the streams you want to focus on more, it is definitely worth it to invest in someone. And if you just don't want to spend your time only on LinkedIn, but on more of the exhaustive things, then it's important to look at a coach also that will help you do that. Depending on what your personal objective is, there is no right or wrong in terms of doing things, right? But it's so important, as you said, to be able to use LinkedIn with experts that have cracked the way of how to use it. So you don't spend so much time trying to decipher it and trying to see, what works, what doesn't work, does that work, does not work, and getting a bit ahead, same as with the job search hunt. You can try and do it on your own. You can do it on your own and succeed. But it might take you, a couple of months. It might take you 6 months or more. If you do it with someone that will help you, same as LinkedIn, it will eliminate all of that speed of, I'm not sure if that's right and that approach is right and this is right, and do it so much faster with someone who shows you what is the right approach of doing things.
Exactly. So it's always good to, stand on the shoulders of giants, of people who've already done it before. And you're right. People have already cracked the code. Some people have achieved tremendous growth on LinkedIn. So why would you want to try it out on your own when somebody has already have a system So one of the things that I have checked out and Kim has checked out is actually Growth Academy, and people come and go and do a lot of different things. But what I found, like you said, I'm the same with you, Kim. I only started being serious maybe 4 months ago, but in those 4 months, I have added probably 10,000 people into my network, followers, because I've been consistent. Like you said, I've been posting every day. I've been going videos and now lives. I didn't even know LinkedIn had live before until our mentor, Shanae Moray, said, you need to do lives. Okay, I apply lives. So whatever she says, I do. And it's been working for me so far. So if you're serious into growing your network and finding more influence, I would highly recommend that you check it out. I've given a link on the chat. So if any of you want to check it out, please click on that. Just watch some videos and see whether it's right for you. There's many, like Kim said, many coaches out there, many groups out there, but you want to see, results, and you want to see people who have proven what they're doing. So Kim, time's almost up for us. It's almost 6 o'clock there in Dubai and almost 10 p.m. here in Malaysia. So as we end, I'd like you to kind of wrap up and give us some of your insights and what you found interesting in our conversation tonight. Maybe some key takeaways for our audience. Kim.
So I really enjoyed our conversation, Asif. I know it's been like a couple of weeks. We've been, delaying it also from my end and everything because there was a lot of things going on. So I'm super happy that I was able, to talk to you and to get our lovely audience also with all of their questions. And I hope we were able to help you in terms of things. But it's also about remembering, look at where we are today. That's the beauty of what I want to show you in terms of the world we live today. We are sitting, not just me and Asif, you guys also on the call,
from all over the world.
Parts of the world, exactly. I have even people I talk to in the US. Imagine the time difference with the US. But I still do that. There is so many unlimited open doors and opportunities for you to knock on, to be able to get something that is important for you. Go ahead and knock on these doors. Don't be afraid of knocking on these doors. Just push the doors. Not all of the doors will open, but one of them, and the right one, will. And that's so important for you to remember. And that's the job hunt. You will knock on so many doors. Not all of them will open. Maybe a few will, luckily, but one of them will, and it will be the right thing with consistent effort and consistent things. And one more important thing, other than LinkedIn, that I wanted to mention as well, because a lot of people have been talking about it, Clubhouse. And maybe some people on the call are going to say, but what the hell is Clubhouse, kind of thing. And I'm like, Clubhouse, I used to not want to even look at it because I was already I have LinkedIn, I have Instagram, I have my website, and I don't want to have another social media on top of everything else. And I was actually subscribed for, I would say, a month before, not opening a profile, not even joining a room as a guest, nothing. But trust me, and not all of the rooms, some of them are more productive, more informative, more exciting. But if you have the chance, whenever you have the chance, connect on rooms that are interesting for you, that will give you added value, because these are experts talking about topics that are interesting for you, that you will get to learn so much from. I promise you, even if you do it once a week, just do it not because you want to get something out of it, but you will see that you will get so many golden nuggets from there as well that are super important. So Clubhouse is not LinkedIn, but it's also a very, very interesting tool to use that will give you so much learning as well in terms of progress.
Right, that's great points, and I also would recommend you check out Clubhouse. Connect with me and connect with Kim on Clubhouse as well. If you're not connected with each other in the chat here, please do connect to everyone. I think you don't know who is that one connection on LinkedIn who will open some doors for you and help you, and somebody that you can help in your own lives. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I would thank each and every one of you again from all over the world coming in today and engaging with us. I love all of you so much. Thank you so much. And if there's anything that I can do for you, I'm just a DM away. DM me. If I can help you, I will. If I can't help you, I will tell you, and I will try and point you in the right direction in where you can get help. So again, thanks everyone for coming on board. As always, I appreciate you engaging with my content. Please do check out Kim's profile and connect with her as well. She has great content over there. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, stay kind. Goodbye, everyone. Good night, good day, good morning, wherever you are. Goodbye. Thank you so much, Kim. Bye-bye.